Welcome everybody to the final episode of Let's Play El Shaddai.
Yeah. いや、何も問題ないよ。私を疑うのか？あと少しだよ。待っててくれ。
打点の苦痛は想像を絶するものだ。多くの同志を失った。それでも打点したことに価値はあった。人の無限の可能性を見出せたのだからな。このタワーは神が創造した地上界を超えた。我々グリゴリの天使は人の可能性を大きく開花させたのだ。
So, final fight with Azazel. Honestly, aside from the obvious damage output increase, he doesn't really change at all in extra mode. I decided to stick with the Arch for this final fight just because he is honestly the most interesting of all of the bosses, and so I don't want to just outright cheese him with the Gale. I want to get a real fight out of him. Really, it's once his halo comes out that this fight starts getting interesting. One of the things that makes Azazel especially challenging is that he is actually a lot faster than he appears to be. Not only in terms of his movement, but he's really good at getting out of the way of certain attacks. Like with that guard break I attempted to do, he just got right out of the way. He'll do that for all of them. I managed to get through the entire fight up to that point right there without taking a single hit. So close.
Don't give up. Keep moving. No problem. Everything's fine.
強くなったな、イーノック。
ついてこられるか。
So right at the end there I swapped out for the Gale because honestly, even though I take a couple of hits from the guy, Nether Azazel is really boring and really predictable, so I just want to blaze through this fight as quickly as possible. It's really nice that with just a little bit of practice, you can get through this guy pretty easily without taking a single hit. It makes it really handy for the upcoming Armoros fight. And then right about here I popped over into easy mode to find out what this attack actually does. It's no more exciting than you would expect it to be, unfortunately.
Is it really Armoros?
So, final fight with Dark Armoros. Honestly, for the most part, it's uneventful up until this first bit right here.
You must not fall here.
I take one stupid hit from running in the wrong direction.
No problem.
But what really
Everything's
makes
fine.
this fight difficult is when Armoros jumps out of the water. So right now I'm in a really ideal situation here, getting the Gale second. If I was a much better player, it would be exactly what I need to get through this fight without taking a hit. The only real way to consistently get out of the way of that attack where he dives out of the water is with the Gale's dash. The Veil is too slow and its guard gets broken and the Arch just has no real evasion to it. Being able to avoid both the second and third waves with it is ideal. As you can see here, even dodging like a madman, Armoros is just on you with that attack. The only real way to get out of the way from it is with some really well-timed dashes. Now once you do get to this stage, you really do need to lay on the heat, because if you're not fast enough, he'll just hit the water again and you know what's coming.
No problem.
And if you're stuck with the arch like I am, it means you're going to take another hit. Fortunately though, I had him right down there at the end, so I could afford that one last hit.
Allow me to help.
I don't know if it's an effect of it being the post-game, or if the fact that I skipped the cutscene caused the game to freak out, but I don't have the Gale here, I have the Arch. It still kills him just fine, you only need to do the overboost super attack in order to finish him. But it's rather thematic to finish him off with his own type. I'm employing a bit of editing magic here because ordinarily you have to sit through the credits before you get your grade, but I'm going to show it to you right now. And then we come to the end. So, a few final thoughts on the game. Visually speaking, the game is a marvel. Every world, with the exception of Barakel's floor, is visually stunning while also remaining completely distinct from each other. Likewise, the soundtrack is excellent. All the tracks manage to not only work perfectly within their place in the game, but they're very good listening on their own. The story is simplistic, but it's interesting enough to be passable, and the characters, while not particularly deep, are at least memorable for one reason or the other. The lack of a HUD, at least for the first playthrough, is a very good, very flavorful design decision, and I think it benefits the initial run more than it harms. Unfortunately, it's the biggest part of the gameplay where El Shaddai comes up short. The back of the box advertises the combat as easy to learn, hard to master, and while this is true, it's not enough. Compared to its older siblings, Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, the combat system is shallow and tedious. The weapons are all visually and functionally distinct from each other, and the idea that stealing your opponent's weapons on the fly is interesting, but ultimately neither is enough. The moveset is extremely simple. There's only 3 weapons that you can only get definite access to one at a time, and there's almost no enemy variety outside of the little differences between how the humans and the non-human enemies attack with their weapons. These 3 things mean that you see all that the combat has to show very, very early on. Ultimately, what the combat needed was more. It needed more different enemies that did more different things. It needed a wider moveset with more possible distinct combos. It needed another 2 or 3 weapons and faster, freer access to all of them. And it needed more uniqueness with its encounters. Too many of the fights are just, here's a bunch of dudes, kill them. Some special encounters that force you to use one or more of the weapons in a creative way would have done a whole lot to break up the monotony of the combat. Ultimately, this was a very risky game, and it did a few things very, very right, and a few things very, very wrong. I do like this game a lot, despite all its flaws, and I'll definitely play it again, but I'm not going to play it regularly. It'll be something that I have to really miss before I come back to it. And now, at the end, I have some gratitude to express. First, thank you to everybody who watched these videos and posted in the thread. Thank you for accompanying me on this first endeavor. I couldn't have done it without you. Next, thank you of the Poke Captain for writing the technical guide and the tech support for it. Next, a few special thank yous for some people in the thread. Jamie the D for the posts about the Nephilim, Anakim, Lucifer, and Angelic Hierarchy. Brewski, likewise for the posts about Has-Satan and Jewish folklore. Knight10194, Iron Saber, and Skippy Granola for the little discussion on the lethality of Angel's presence, Solomon's Temple, and Tabernacles. And Knight10194 again for the bit about Nephilims and Job. Thanks again to Black Wombat for the trick to avoiding that one attack from the pigs. Balkus for the posts about biblical apocrypha in general. Pesky Splinter for the jeans and booth images. Geemer for the advertisement scans, and Smorstein for the heads up about the Nephilim plushies. An extra special thank you to Zombiebeard, Spooky, and Azure Horizon for guesting with me, and an extra thanks to Azure Horizon for posting all the soundtracks in the thread. And finally, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little project of mine. Take it easy, and please, join me next time.
いや、さっきは途中ですまなかったね。うん、終わったよ。これが地上界からの最後の報告になるかな。じゃ、またね。